My name is Karen Kloepping, and I am the pre-K teacher at Eustis-Farnam Public Schools in Eustis, Nebraska. I'm here today to urge you to vote for LB 161. Eustis is a small town of about 400 people. Many of our students live on farms, so we have a lot of land, but not a lot of tax dollars. The town has one daycare, which includes a half-day preschool taught by uncertified staff. Adding a preschool to our public school last year was much needed. To start the preschool, we increased our tax levy and were able to get a grant, but our current pre-K funding still relies almost entirely on a grant.
A major part of early childhood is getting children ready for kindergarten. Preparing them for kindergarten isn't just about academics. It is about teaching them how to be a student. In talking to kindergarten teachers, they are noticing a huge difference in their incoming classes. Due to the teacher shortage, several early childhood classrooms have had to close. This means that kindergarten is now many students' first exposure to school. That is often problematic due to larger class sizes and fewer adults in the classroom, as well as more rigorous curriculum. They're having to go back and teach these students how to sit like a student, how to zip their coats, carry their backpacks, how to be a good classmate, as well as all of the academics they missed out by not being in an early childhood classroom.
I mentioned earlier how much a full-day pre-K program was needed for the children of our town and district. Now I want to share the journey of one of my students with you. The first day of school, one little girl came in clinging to her mom. She had never been to school or daycare before, so this was all brand new. She spent the morning hiding under my back table, watching all of the other students. Luckily in pre-K we have a full-time para, and she spent the day checking on this girl. She comforted her, talked to her, and encouraged her to come out and join the class. By lunchtime, she came out but did not say a word. For the rest of the day, she watched what the class was doing from a distance. Every day following, the para would talk the girl out from under the table. After a couple of weeks, she would get close to her table spot and close to her spot on the carpet. After a couple more weeks, she finally sat in her spots at the table and on the carpet. Then she started saying a few words to the para and was willing to do a little work. That's when we learned that she could not recognize her name. She did not know any letters, numbers, or shapes, and could not hold a pencil or crayon or cut with scissors. Since this is pre-K, we focus on those basic skills. Being exposed to letters and numbers during large group activities and intentional play has allowed her to develop pre-reading and math skills. Through small group work, she had the opportunity to work on her writing her name, holding a writing utensil, and using scissors. Now, 6 months into school, this little girl can accomplish a lot of what we want to see her do at her level. She can spell and write her name, count and recognize numbers to 11, recognize some letters, decipher beginning sounds and words, and she loves to play and talk. Without the pre-K program, this girl would have come to kindergarten not being able to find her name on her desk and have been expected to start reading. This program truly is a needed part of our Nebraska state education system. Thank you for your time. On behalf of all our young students, I urge you to support LB 161.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Kloepping? If not, thanks. Wait a minute, Senator Conrad.
Sorry, one sprung to mind. Sorry. Thanks, Chair. Thank you for being here. You know, I was looking at some reports over the weekend and then was reading some news from the State Board of Education where they were trying to get a stronger assessment kind of where our state is in terms of things like reading and whether or not we're hitting our marks or falling behind or how we compare to our peers. And we've received some new grants and there's some exciting new strategies out there for curriculum and technique changes to try and help more kids be at grade level at age 3 or grade 3, for example, because we know if that's a key milestone that sets them on a good trajectory for academic success and life success. And we've talked a lot about how across the political spectrum, you know, having a good education is one of the best determinants for a strong family and a good job and keeping costs down in our correctional systems, and the list goes on and on
Yes.
and on and on and on. So I think that's something that we're really, really all committed to, regardless of where we come from in Nebraska or where we fall on the political spectrum. But how important is the early childhood component of all of that, in making sure that our kids have every opportunity to meet those early milestones for things like reading?
So pre-K, I feel, is especially important because, as I mentioned, when they start kindergarten, they do, first 2 weeks review of what letters and numbers are, and then they start reading. Can you believe that? They start reading in kindergarten. And so if a child comes in not having any exposure to that, then they're having to go back and receive Title I services, or in some cases those special ed services, which cost us more money, to build those foundational pre-reading skills of learning the letters and sounds, or learning what a number is, how to count objects. Beyond that, you mentioned like the correctional facilities. Early childhood and pre-K focuses a lot on play-based learning and developing those social emotional skills. So I could tell you about one little boy who came in, he knows his letters and numbers, he's fine, he could do great that way in kindergarten. But he did not have the social emotional skills. He picked on the other students. He rushed to get his work done because he had to be first. He was bigger and stronger than the other students, and he would tackle them and pull them down. But through that play-based learning and through those supports that we're able to do in early childhood, supporting those social, emotional, developmental needs, he's worked to be a very empathetic child. He's one of the first to go and comfort somebody if they fall on the playground and get hurt. He's right there. He's willing to help the other students because he knows, oh, I know this stuff. I can help teach them. Instead of rushing through my work, I can be there to support other students. So I think some of those things in early childhood are really key that we don't have the time to focus on with the push for early academics in kindergarten and beyond, that it's still there now in early childhood that helps them develop play and interacting with each other in polite ways, and just being able to talk to other people that maybe we don't get a lot of with all the devices and activities anymore. Does that answer your question?
No, that's very, very helpful. And I think, sometimes there's a misconception about what early childhood education is and is not. And, I was definitely blown away watching my kids' early childhood education experience, which was beautiful, but also pretty intense from an academic perspective. And I know sometimes people think, oh, it's kind of babysitting or glorified babysitting, as if somehow that's a good thing to have caring, talented people take care of our children. But it's really very carefully designed to ensure that kids do really have both the social skills to succeed in school and the academic knowledge to hit the ground running when they show up at kindergarten, so that it makes it easier for the teacher, the other kids in the class, gives that kid more confidence.
Yes.
It really hits on a lot of level, I think, and it can be surprising if you haven't maybe seen an early childhood education program in a while.
Yes, I'd encourage you to go in and ask to see an hour in a pre-K classroom or early childhood classroom. I'm sure any teacher would welcome you in. And also you mentioned about assessment and learning where our students are at. So pre-K, if you are government funded, requires you to use the Teaching Strategies Gold Assessment, which covers 38 standards. Some of them are academic based and other are social, emotional, and even motor based, like fine motor skills, gross motor skills, things like zipping your coat, those basic skills of caring for yourself. So we have to analyze the students throughout the year. 3 times a year we submit data to the state to show what progress they're making, and that also helps identify where they're at going into kindergarten and if they have those pre-learning skills to be on track, or if they're going to need supports or need supports already in preschool, or if they might be able to get into a gifted program, things like that, to help us learn before even mainstream schooling.
Yeah, I remember reading some of those assessments, those golden, they're thick. There's
Yes,
a
they're
lot
thick,
of
they're very
information.
detailed.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cool, thank you, thanks, Chair.
Any other questions? If not, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.